transcript is started. Recording and transcript is started. I guess I'll keep the AI stuff too. Right. So welcome again to the sprint review. So today we're going to go over, have the leads go over a bit about what they've done in the different working groups. And then at the end, we're going to actually have a discussion around, do we still need more time based on where we are? Or I should say, how much more time do we need, right? Because we originally had this plan to close mid-October to, I think, end of November. I can't remember. So we just want to figure out how much more time do we need so that we can properly adjust it on the community calls themselves. Okay, so I heard we did have all the leads. Does anyone want to go first, or do you want me to randomly pick?
From vocab mapping, I think I'll be able to present first.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
Would you like to present? Because I don't have any of the slides.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay, I'll just give me a minute.
No problem. Take your time.
Sharing my screen.
We got the whole day. Well, I should say that I have the whole night.
Yeah.
So
okay, I hope you can see my screen. Everybody can see my screen. With respect to the with respect to the vocab mapping team, so I have the sprint 3 updates where most of the files, the mapping were completed, and there are 2 files which is in progress. That's on the surgical codes, which is a very big file, and the radiology file is with the new volunteer, Dr. Alexander Miller, and I'm making follow-up with him. So I'll be able to get the status from him very soon. And on the renal file, I got the feedback from Dr. Syed that it will get over by 4th of October. But when it comes to surgery file, yes, so we divided the file into 5 or 9 sub files and allocated to 5 volunteers, where 3 volunteers has already completed and they updated the status with me. So we still have some more work to be done from their end, but apart from that we are done. With respect to the extension of timelines, maybe I suggest we might require 1 more week because I am yet to hear from Elizabeth and Alexander on his files. So once I get the update from them, maybe we will be able to close it. But we also heard on last week's meeting that one of the volunteer mentioned that it's very challenging to work on the file. So if required, we might need if possible, we might require 1 volunteer to work on the surgery file. The one which is divided into 9 subfiles, for that alone.
Wow.
But otherwise, we are done with our work team.
Amazing. Thank you for that update. Anybody got any questions? No? All right. Do we want to move on to the next group? Any other group want to go share next? Thank you.
I can go next.
Thank you, Sitesh.
Yeah, okay. So from the ETL team, the last sprint was quite productive for us. So if you have a look at this page, you can see that the majority of the tables are actually completed. So what does this done means is that it's not that all the tables, are completely done, including the standard concept columns. So they are still pending. The standard concept ID, we are still waiting from the vocab team, and once we get that data from them, then we will as well complete the mapping for those columns alone for these tables. Yeah, and then these are in review. So this is also mostly done. There's just some conversation going on between the reviewers and the author, and it's almost done. And this is still in progress. Even here, it's almost, I would say, like 60 to 70% are done. But we are confident that in the next week this will as well be, merged to the main branch. The last two are the aggregate tables. As we all know, the measurement is yet to be started. So just to go into a bit more details, so those tables which have no further work required are these. So these are primarily the master tables, and yeah, so there isn't any work left. And as well, when we are developing, we as well agreed within the team to populate the Postgres tables for us to review as well, because it's quite easy to see what's populated and how does the data look like after transformation. So we have total 15, and then plus 2 for the aggregate tables. So out of the 15, 10 tables are populated. And then the source to concept map, we received the first version from the OCAP team. So that's as well, we created a process to have a pull request for it to track the changes. And this is as well loaded into the respective schemas. Yeah, as mentioned in the previous slide, the what's mentioned in the slide is like the first draft, but this first draft is a bit more than that, in my opinion, because 80 to 90% they're actually done when they are merged. So that's the uh, the opinion I get when reviewing the PS and merge. So there's very little work pending, and most of them are actually, like I said, the to map the standard concept ID columns, and then there are some minor clarifications with the data analysis team and the data owner. Yeah, yeah. So this is just to reiterate the source to concept map table. Yeah.
Question. So
Yes.
back on this, so are you guys doing like half of the tables in SQL and half of the tables in Python?
Yeah, more than half for the SQL, I would say. Yeah.
So what's the green and the blue? Because I see some that has green and blue in it.
No, so they were actually partially started. So the green ones are almost complete. So the blue ones were the planned,
Blue is the plan. I see.
and the green ones are the actual progress.
Got it. Got it. Got it. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. So this Tuesday we had a discussion with the TA team. Most have been resolved, but Max raised two issues with the data owner, which he will clarify and get back. And then currently we are as well using two schemas for ease of development. But because this is now getting more concrete, our plan is to merge these two schemas into one, so that the for the next phase, the quality assurance team can just rely on one schema for them to run these checks. Because now these tables are spread out, but the plan is probably by next Tuesday we will just use one schema for the development, and then both sub teams would push the data to that single schema, and quality assurance team can run checks here. And the next steps is quite obvious. Yeah, we are waiting for the data from the OCAP team, and so that our developers can complete the pending standard concept ID columns, which is the second iteration, and as well complete the pending development for the measurement, procedure occurrence, drug exposure, observation, and condition occurrence. Yeah, so these are the 5 tables that are actually in Spotlight, that we will complete it by next week, except for the standard concept ID columns. Yeah, that's all.
Amazing. Thank you. Anybody got any questions for the ETL team? No? All right. Thank you, Satish. Data analysis or QA. Anyone want to go next?
I can go next. Since Satish mentioned the ADA team, thank you, Satish, and everyone. So the challenge that the data analysis team has made the spec of all the tables that we have data, and we put them on GitHub that anyone, ETL developers and anyone can have access to. I can put the link on GitHub to the GitHub in the chat again. Basically, this is the spec that is created from Rabbit in a Hat, right? And I just exported everything into Markdown file so that we can put on GitHub and we can, track the changes and modification and so on. And and the problem that Satish mentioned was that once the ETL teams, have a look at the data, we have more questions that need clarification from the data owners. So I think one of the main lesson learned from this exercise that perhaps next time we should include the data owner as a part of the data analysis team or as a co-lead to help resolve the issue right away instead of waiting for the data owner to come back with the answer later on. So that would help speed up the process. Yeah. But I think Bunseng and I will and our team will probably gather our lesson learned and produce that like document for the community so that when we have the next workshop, we are better prepared in this domain of the data analysis and mapping. Thank you.
How do you guys like the use of Markdown? Because I see you guys used Markdown for you exported the the rabbit in a hat report, but then you're using Markdown to update as well as maintain it, right?
Yeah.
So how do you guys like the use of Markdown?
Yeah, it's common I think format for developers anyway. So
is it
actually, Rabbit in a Hat can export the spec in Markdown file on top of Word document and PDF, I guess. So yeah, you can export as Markdown.
Yeah, the reason why I ask is there's actually talks about another effort to update the Odyssey book, the Book of Odyssey. And we've over here on the APAC side, we've been doing this ETL project, right? And maybe I'm not volunteering the team, but maybe that's I'm just putting a suggestion out there, right? That we as APAC folks can look at the ETL section and figure out what we can update on there, right? Based on all the learnings that we've done here, and they use Markdown in there. And that's something when we wrote the Book of Odyssey, a lot of folks didn't know how to use. I mean, I've done a lot of ETL development, but I've never used Markdown myself either, right? We typically use Excel spreadsheets or we use Word documents. Maybe because in the industry we require, like for me, it's a client deliverable, so I actually have to send it to a client. So and most clients are used to, an Excel spreadsheet or a Word document, right?
Well, actually, the benefit of using Markdown is that you can easily track the change and you can still have the formatting right. So this one, for example, I made some changes on the procedure occurrence table, and we can see right away, oh, these are the the new addition or deletion and so on. And actually, my dissertation, my PhD dissertation is written on with Markdown, and I can format them as Word document or LaTeX PDF, and there are plenty of tools to do that conversion.
Yeah, and I think, back then when we wrote the book, that was back in that was at least 5 years ago, right?
Yeah.
So maybe Markdown wasn't as popular back then. I'm not too sure because I've always thought Markdown was used at schools, right? Like you said, but in the industry, we don't really use Markdown that often.
Well, I think in software development, like everyone use Markdown. Well, like startup world, actually, at least.
Yeah, I was just thinking because again, we're thinking about next year from the global side, looking at the book and potentially trying to figure out how we can update the book. But when we did the book, it really took a village, right? We had a hackathon at Case Western University in Cleveland for 3 days. And then from there, people spent months on it, right? Writing it and then reviewing it. We actually all wrote it in Google Doc, and then we had to have people create it in Markdown because, like I said, most of us didn't use Markdown back then. So we actually wrote the whole book in different Google Docs because that was the way to share, right? Back then, when we didn't have a Teams environment or like this. And then, yeah, we specifically had sets of people that their job was to take what we wrote and put it into Markdown. So it's quite interesting. But if this project does kick off next year, I'll let the APAC side know about it. But I think it's a good, it would be good for us to, on the APAC side, to contribute, especially since we've been working on ETL, right? It's fresh in our head. So thank you, Max. I believe QA?
Yes, I believe QA. All right.
Come on, QA.
Come on, QA. Stay with the flow.
Yes. Get with the program.
Can you? Okay,
Yes.
can you see the screen?
Yep.
All right, perfect. So yeah, that's the big slide for the QA team. Yeah, the one QA guy has been super busy. So we got the access to the VM. Thank you, Satish, for that. And Santan has set up the DQD on both the VMs, created the R script for running it, and then we've done one test run on both the VMs just to make sure that stuff works as we intended, right? Yeah, so this is your first sneak preview on the results from the SQL VM, and I will show you later on the Python VM. I mean, the numbers look good. They are great percentages. I think we should not look into it right now, to be honest. I mean, because there's a lot of not applicable checks and a lot of SQL errors, which will need further investigation into the things. But yeah, we have test runs on both the SQL and the Python VMs. Yeah, they both look pretty decent. But as I said, that's the plan for the next script. Next sprint is we run the DQD on both the VMs. Now, this one I will place a question to the team later as to when do they want us to run the DQD in terms of do they feel that it's a work still in progress and they would not like us to look over their shoulders and point out errors when they are doing it?
Why not?
Or, you know, my kids don't like it. I don't expect grown-up adults like it either.
Hey,
But
our parents do it to us all the time. So you gotta be payback somewhere.
Yeah, let's break the Asian circle of parental. Anyway, and then Santan had this idea also in terms of sort of dissemination, also to get more feedback, to have a public GitHub page where we can display results, and you know, maybe the observers want to provide us more guidance and things like that, so we don't miss out on people giving us feedback, and then we can do the deep dive into results. And so the next sprint is going to be us discussing with other teams on quality results and other improvements and stuff. And I think Santan will start that by joining the next ETL weekly meeting and stuff. So yeah, the open question still remains if the ETL and the other teams would prefer for us to wait a little bit more while they finish some more work, and then they would be more comfortable with us running the DQD and the results would make more sense, or do they want us to start now and then tell them about it by looking through it? And that's an open question to the teams.
Yeah, so let's open that question to the ETL team, right? So Tash, since you guys are leading that, do you want them to be looking over your shoulder like your parents do? Or you want them to like sit on the sideline like a child and wait, right?
Yeah, I mean, it would be useful if you can actually pass the JSON to the ETL team, right? So that the respective ETL developers can look at the those checks failing for the corresponding tables, and we can yeah, see if anything can be improved. I mean, that would be my first step.
Okay. All right. So then we'll start keeping you in the loop and run the DQD and then provide you with the JSON as you want. Shouldn't be a problem.
And then, like I mentioned, next week we will unify and use a single schema, so that all the tables are in that schema, and then yeah, that would as well be streamed.
So shall we wait until next week? Because then, you know, once everything's in one schema, you can rerun the DQD again, and then you can get all the results, right? So instead of, because if they're going to merge the schema anyways, it doesn't, it seems like having two separate ones, and then you're going to rerun it anyways, doesn't make sense, right?
Yeah, that's fine with me. I mean, I will update the QA team. Yeah, once the data is populated in the
Yeah,
in a single schema. Yeah.
yeah. And I
So
think
in
this
other
will
words, stay
also
on the
avoid.
sideline.
Yeah, yeah, this will also avoid the errors that say that this were
Mm,
skipped or not applicable due to empty
yeah.
tables and empty this and empty that. So yeah, no, that's perfectly fine. But anyway, Santan will join your next ETL weekly meeting and then he will stay in the loop. So that should be good.
Mhm.
Thank you, Satish.
Thank you.
Any
Any
other
questions?
comments?
Yeah, any questions for the QA team? Staff of one goes really fast. Very effective team.
Santan, it's all Santan. I'm just the hype man.
Hey, that's sometimes what you need. The marketing, right? The agent behind, the superstars. Those are the ones that gets things done, right? So thank you both. So with everything that we've done, did I miss any groups? No, right? So it seems that with the vocabulary team, we're going to need some more time next week. And then for the ETL team, how many more weeks do you guys think? Again, high level, right? Estimate. Do you think we need to push this out to the end of October, like early November?
Yeah, I mean, so in the last ETL meeting, Yang Chi said that the complete vocab data would be passed to us by October 10th. If if
Okay.
if we can commit to that timeline, then we can commit to say that October 17th, which was originally planned,
Huh?
yes, can be completed.
Well,
But
for
then
you guys, but then QA has to run their stuff, and
yes,
then you guys gotta fix it,
yes,
right? So
yeah, I'm
that's what
coming
I'm
to
thinking. Yeah.
yes.
So maybe the end of November seems not end of November, end of October, early November seems reasonable, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I'll make sure I let Song know about that so that he gets that insights. Yes, Max.
I just to want to update Mui and QA team that you just mentioned that like empty, value empty data. I have to admit that for the DA team, uh, we can only deliver, the only the field that we are pretty confident with. So we are not aiming for, perfect
Mm-hmm.
every field in, with data. And so that's the expectation for everyone. Yeah.
No, I
And
think
Yeah,
that's
no,
yes, yeah.
yeah, no,
Mhm.
that's fine, Max. I mean, again, the reason I mention is right now we are skipping a lot of tables. So then we say,
That's right.
okay, look, there will be skipped tables, but there will be only these tables skipped. Then we ignore them
yep,
and we go to the ones that are skipped, and then so
yep.
that's about it. I mean, we are not
Mhm.
expecting 95, 98% and all that stuff. We just want to make
Yeah,
sure that we know what we are skipping. That's all.
yeah, sure. Just so
Yeah,
you
and
know
that's
that we,
common,
yeah,
right? Because
yeah,
not all databases like will have all the tables that the CDM has. The CDM is like a more encompassing, hey, here's all the ones that we can think of, but some data assets don't have certain stuff, right? And same thing with the fields. You don't always have all the fields. So I think that's very common. Chi. Hey, Chi.
Yes. So we have a good confidence to deliver everything by October the 10th, right? By this Friday, we're going to deliver pretty much everything except surgery operation. Okay, so pretty much everything will be in S. I already delivered a three custom mapping vocabulary, just as a test for the ETL team. But by this Friday, there'll be like pretty much everything else except survey operation by this Friday in the ST's source to concept mapping table. So and then the ETLT team can test out the run out and then let us know what we are missing. Right. The last time they find out that there's a vocabulary that a provider specialty was missing, we didn't. We somehow did not see it, but that was good feedback. So we already mapped that one, and so I, if they can finish. If I deliver on Friday, I put in there on Friday, they can test it next week. Then you know, we're still having, you know, I don't know how long QA takes. Okay, so QA, let's say QA runs for like a day or two, and then we analyze result. I mean that then is a really big question mark, right? If the result is everything looks good, you know, the correct concept ID is in correct domain, then you know it's good. But then if there's tons of problem, then you know that's a really unknown thing.
Yep.
But I think we still have a very good chance to hit the mid-October mark. If the QA result turns out to be very good, there's nothing to worry about. Everything looks good, even though rarely that's the case. So,
Come on, our ETLers do perfect coding. They don't
okay.
make mistakes. Come on, Chi. You gotta cheer
All right.
cheer the ETL team on, right?
Okay.
No, that's great news. I just wanted thank you, Chi. Anything else?
Yeah. Well, that's it for me.
Thank you. Anyone got anything else? We just wanted to talk through what the expectation was and what the timelines are. Because again, I think for the next community call, we had another update from this team. And I don't know by then if we can close it out or if it's just, hey, here's another update and we close it out in November. All right. So that's what we wanted to do and plan for. That, I believe, is everything that Sung had me talk about on his agenda. Does anybody have anything else they want to talk about? Because if not, I'll give you guys back 30 minutes. Silence means y'all want to walk away from you. Yes, Santan.
So just one comment because QA
Yep.
came up so many times and I don't want to sit silent. I think the expectation of mid-October in the beginning is okay, but having that buffer of 2 more weeks or the end of October is a good thing as well.
Yep.
So that again, QA has some time to again understand the assumptions we make and document them and get to a certain level of threshold for the checks. That may be 80% or even less, but we should know the assumptions that we are making and then again document them properly. So that's why maybe for me that assumptions, knowing the assumptions might take some time because I'm not involved in the early process. So yeah, that could take some time, I would say, and I would prefer to extend it to the end of October. Yeah.
That's great. Again, I think we can play it by ear, right? As we go through next week, I think you got the leads. There's a catch up every week, maybe. I can't remember. And then we have in teams, right? Folks can tell us, hey, we do expect this to take a little longer, so let's for sure push it out, right? So for me, I think we can just play it by ear. And I agree with you, planning it for the end of October. I'm one of those that likes to say, okay, give me some freedom here and give me some padding. And then if we come in early, then it's a woohoo, right? So I prefer the glass being half full than half empty. That's the way I like to plan things. So let's see. We can try to shoot. You guys can try to shoot for October 17th, but then we expect we don't have a problem with it going all the way to the end of October. Right. So awesome. Anyone got anything else? Alrighty then, I will give you guys back 29 minutes of your day. Thank you very much for all the work that you guys are putting into this project. It's going very smoothly.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a nice
Yeah.
rest of your day, evening, afternoon, morning. Bye.
Bye-bye.
So.
Bye.
Thank you.